Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are around the world. I'm Bonnie McDonald Dixon with Storyvan TV, and we are amazingly blessed today to have Robin Johnson from Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, USA, with us today. She is an author and a oneness coach. And what I really love, she's a world traveler. And, each of us has our gift, and Robin has created ETA to oneness. Now, that is so intriguing. What does that mean? And number one, Robin, I love your acronym. And number two, bring us into the world of oneness and explain to our audience what you've found out and what you're sharing with the world.
Well, thank you, Bonnie, for having me. And I am thrilled to be here and really honored to talk about this topic. So, ETA, for those who travel, especially internationally, you never know what time you're actually going to arrive someplace. So, ETA literally means estimated time of arrival. So the name of the program is ETA to Oneness. What is your estimated time of arrival to oneness? Now, ETA also is an acronym for the process that I've created to help people get to oneness. So E stands for embrace your authentic emotionality. T stands for trust divine guidance. And A stands for anchor this new way of being with others.
Wow.
ETA to oneness. There's a lot of chaos and confusion in the world right now. A lot of it is due to a lack of oneness. Oneness is, I think of a lot of people want peace right now, but I have different definitions. I say peace is the absence of conflict. But oneness is the acceptance of the differences. And what we need now is oneness. We need to learn to accept each other's differences so that we can all be in harmony. So, Bonnie, I hope that answered your question.
Oh, my heart is full. My heart is just full hearing that beautiful concept. To get your message out to the world, we should be shouting this from the rooftops. Each of the religions have it in there to be kind to one another, to be accepting of one another, to love one another. And it's so interesting that I don't know, as you said, where we are in the world, but at this moment in time, it seems like there's so much chaos. At the same time, a simple, clear message of what you just shared, if we all practiced it, oh my gosh, the world would just be, we'd be running around skipping and joyfully sharing with each other and embracing each other. I'm so intrigued with this. Tell me a little process of how you lead people into ETA to oneness. Where do you start?
All right. Well, let me tell you how it started for me. I am, like too many people, product of a divorce. For me, divorce came at age 3. And what I wanted to know from that point forward was, how do we live in harmony with one another? How do we do this? So that sent me on a path. It sent me on a path reading all kinds of psychology. From psychology, I went into reading about religions, all the major religions. From religions, I went into reading about metaphysics and quantum physics. From that, I went into traveling. I went to 40 countries trying to get an answer to how do we live in oneness with one another. And what I found out was what we're looking for doesn't come from our mind. We can't get an intellectual understanding of the concept. What we need are open hearts. And the problem with an open heart is that in most of our hearts, we've got trauma, drama, and pain. So we're trying to live with one another without opening our hearts.
Mhm.
So I've created, just about finished with creating my online course that'll be up and running in April. And the first course, the first module that we're looking at is E, Embrace Your Authentic Emotionality. And what I'm talking about here, when I'm talking about being authentic, it's not the concept that I can say anything I want to anybody I want, whenever I want, because I'm being authentic. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is being authentic means to truly trust your intuitive or divine side, that there's nothing blocking your heart space from moving from an internal way of being, because it's from that place that we can be in connection with one another. Because to me, our egos that come out of our wounding won't let us be in full connectivity with one another. So we've got to go internal to be able to come back externally. And that's what the coaching program is all about.
Wow, that is so insightful. As you said, we all, like you and I, are probably in three-quarter time. And young people have different perspectives. So in saying that, it does seem the online space allows this. Well, here's an example. When we're in a car, we think we're safe driving down the road.
Mhm.
When we're online, we think we're safe and we can say what we want and, blah. And it's so interesting, the old word civility, of just being
Mm,
civil to one another. And
right.
it's like relearning that so that we can, again, be kind to one another. And what do you find generationally, Robin,
Mm.
for people who have grown up, not like you and I probably, but in a new era where it is okay to just go blah, on everybody.
Yes. Okay. So when you have a need to just go blah or unload on everybody, from a life coaching perspective, the issue is you are projecting. You're projecting your insecurities by the criticism and the judgment that you're leveling on other people.
Mhm,
So you're telling people who you truly are and what your issues really are. So for the others that are recipients of the information, if you are tuned into who you really are, then you understand what the other person is doing and
mhm,
you don't take offense. And you understand this person is in need of compassion.
mhm, mhm. Ooh, I like that. Compassion for another. So, in saying that, would you say an exercise is to take a deep breath when you hear something, when someone is "bleh" on you, and you're
No,
taking
no,
a deep breath
no,
and just going,
no, no,
"Nope."
no, absolutely not.
Okay,
Because,
tell me what.
because you know what? I think this is where the problem comes in. We have too many techniques
Okay,
that then inhibit our heart space. You're
okay.
mad with somebody, count to 10. If you're mad with somebody, don't say what you feel. If you're mad with somebody, rethink it. To me, if you're being initially authentic, you need to let that energy out.
Mhm,
React however you feel in the moment, and
mhm.
then go somewhere and analyze your own reaction.
Oh.
Why were you feeling like that? Why were you reacting like that? What's the belief that you are holding? What is it that the person triggered within you? It's not about others. Others are showing us us. Others are showing us us. But the problem is we have stuck, I call it residual emotionality. We go through life, we have problems, we get to express, but life keeps moving. So we have to just sit on the rest of whatever we were feeling and just go on. And as we keep doing that, we keep compounding the residual emotion until there's a straw that breaks the camel's back and we unload on somebody over something very insignificant.
Mhm.
What we all need to do is allow ourselves to feel. And if you're feeling that and you're unloading on that and on someone, once you finish that process, you do owe them an apology, but you owe yourself an explanation. What is going on within you? Because nothing going on out here demands that kind of reaction.
Mhm. Ooh, so you just saying it that way, I can reflect back to an instance. And my brother-in-law and I had a difference of opinion about politics. And I called him when I found out who he was aligned with, and I went, blah, 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 blah. And he and I have known each other since we were 12 years old, and I'm 66. So it's been a long relationship. And it was the next day, I said, Bonnie, what were you thinking?
Mhm.
And I called him back and I said, I want to apologize
Mm.
because of my reaction.
Mhm.
And I realized I was in fear, total
Mm.
fear,
Mm.
and thinking, oh my goodness, and that was exactly that situation of I was shocked myself the way I reacted, but I came back and said what was going on for me, and I realized it was fear, and I was able to call him back. And of course, we love each other and talk to each other to this day, but it can happen so quickly, Robin.
But Bonnie, we need to let it come out. The only thing that happens is we have stuck emotional energy. And
Mhm,
in those emotional explosions, that energy is being released. That's all. It's
mhm.
just a release of energy.
Okay.
Once the energy is released, we have the option of the storage bin has been emptied. We have the option of continuing in the same beliefs, which reload the storage bin, or
Mhm,
changing the beliefs that allow that space to be used for a different purpose
mhm,
and
mhm,
not be loaded back up with our emotional baggage.
mhm,
So you made a choice
mhm,
after looking at yourself. I'm not going to load it back up. People are free to think and feel and believe whatever they want. I call it being tangential. Sometimes we're too close to people. We're overlapping like concentric circles that overlap with this interior part that's intersectional. We need to be more tangential with the outer circles barely touching at one point.
mhm,
We need to give people room to be whole and to be who they are because they have their own journey. Their journey is not our journey, but we're trying to bring everybody on our journey. So if you're going on my journey, you need to think like me and be like me. But that's not who God created us to be. We all are different puzzle pieces, and we need to give people room. Now, some of our puzzle pieces are aligned. Like me and you, we're the ocean behind you. I got a piece of the ocean, so do you. Well, your brother-in-law may be the sand behind you.
mhm,
We need to let people be where they are. And
mhm.
I've had great role models in my life for that. My mother and my older sister, who were forever asking me, who made you right? With all my spiritual philosophy, who made you right? And my mother would say, and why do I need to change so you'll be okay? Good coaching question. Let me go check that out. And
That's my husband giggling in the background. We're both resonating with that because
yes,
how
so
beautiful is that she was so wise
right,
to
but
ask you the
the answer
question.
the answer is I tied my belief system. We raise kids a certain way, but we never come back for them. We never come back and say, you don't have to do that anymore. So I was raised to make sure my mother was okay, so I would be okay because she's a single mother and I'm the product of divorce. If she's not okay, my safety's at risk.
Mhm.
But my safety is no longer at risk at 65. I'm like, but your safety's no longer at risk at 65. That belief no longer carries. And I think the issue that many of us are having is that we have these beliefs that are no longer working for us. But they came out of childhood. Parents never came back and say, you don't need to be like that. You don't need to do that. I mean, I got into the biggest argument, and I'm blessed that my mother is still here at 85 with a good mind. But we got into the biggest argument because She has rental properties, and we had a sewage backup. She's assigned the younger sister to handle the problem. Sister's like, I'm not dealing with that. I'm just coming off of work. Other sister who contributed to the problem says, I don't feel like dealing with that. I'm sick. My mother's telling me what to do. And I'm like, it's not even my responsibility. So we got into this big argument about my responsibility and how I'm tired of taking on responsibility for other people who don't want to do what's their responsibility. I'm tired of being responsible for the irresponsible ones. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? If it's not your responsibility, then don't do it. I say, yes, but you're upset. And whenever you got upset when I was younger, then if I didn't do it, not only did you argue with me, but you would physically hit me. So I've got some PTSD related to not doing something that is a responsibility if you're upset. And she finally said, no, that wasn't my intention. I only wanted you to be able to help people when you didn't want to. I said, I don't have a problem helping people. My problem is helping people because they don't feel like being bothered. And that's what you beat into me. It doesn't matter what they want to do. If it needs to be done, do it no matter what they want to do. So that took something. But when I got that message, and I know I got it, the first thing that went away was this undercurrent of anger within me, because I'd say, okay, I'd do it, but I'd be mad. So I would eat sugar so I'd feel better. After this conversation with my mother and this clarification, my need for sweets almost just disappeared.
Wow, that is so powerful. I hope our audience resonates with that and really listened to what can happen when we're younger in our belief systems and what we think we know or heard and what might really have been going on. That is very powerful. When you're working with people in your new course, you're going to lead, it sounds like you're going to lead people through learning about themselves so that they as well can create a transformation from maybe being a people pleaser or however you want to call that to going, I'm a whole person and here's what's mine to do and this is what yours to do, and being able to speak it calmly, coolly, or not, and but get through and move on. It's like a wired house that has a plug unplugged, or there's a, like you said, a stuckness. Ouch, ouch, ouch. And Robin, you're helping people through that process so they're not hurting anymore. Is that right?
That is really true. So many of us don't even know what the problem is. So
Mhm.
I kind of studied myself and took notes on myself. That's kind of what my books are about. It's about me moving through my own process of oneness. I didn't think that I would create a program. I didn't never even thought I'd become what I call myself, a oneness coach. I was just making notes on how to get to harmony, how to get to joy, how to feel good in life in my interactions with other people.
Mhm.
And so in that became the structure. And what I found is that there are certain concepts that we all need to understand. Concepts such as projection or personal responsibility or abdicating responsibility when it's your responsibility, or caretaking or taking on other people's problems. There are so many concepts that are ingrained in our cultures that then inhibit us from being who we need to be.
Mhm.
And nobody has said it's okay not to do that or not to be that, because if you're not that, oh, you're selfish if you don't want to help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves. Oh, you're inconsiderate. Oh, how dare you, or how could you? But what about me? And it's hard, our egos won't let us self-sacrifice without being angry. So
Mhm.
there needs to be a way to get beyond our ego so that we can say it's okay for me to take care of me first.
Mhm.
Not me only, but me first.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. I always love that concept. Put the oxygen mask on yourself, and
Absolutely.
then you can take care of the passengers, I really love that concept. I am so excited. It sounds so juicy. your new adventure, your new course. And but you have some books out now, don't you?
Yes, I do. The latest book I just put out in January. It's called Ego on Front Street.
Hmm.
Ego on Front Street. And it came about because I was, quote unquote, so spiritual. But one of my neighbors, who I've known for forever, was going through some emotional issues. And instead of me being compassionate, I was mad and I was angry, and that came up.
Hmm.
So the book starts with a conversation about that as I watched her get uh, in arguments with the police, and then they just took her away. Well, the thing is, as a neighbor, I never knew what happened to her for a whole week. And now the thought that that was going to be my last encounter,
Hmm.
what kind of spiritual person are you? That led me on a quest for discovery in terms of my own emotionality.
Hmm.
And I started documenting some of the things that get in the way of us bringing that compassion, bringing that understanding, who we think we really are.
Hmm.
So that's what that book is about. And I kind of conclude by saying, if you have a fundamental spiritual belief system, it doesn't matter what it is.
Hmm.
If you have some belief, then what you will know for sure is you are not just this body. There is an essential essence of you that inhibits this body, that allows you to move and function. But that essence of who you are, it's more like steam, it's more like smoke. It doesn't need anything. So all of our energies and efforts are going into protecting the physical body that won't last forever, instead of aligning with this essential essence of who we truly are. So as we align with that, that then moves us into the outer experiences with a different perspective. And that's what I had to go and get in order to re-engage with the person
Hmm.
that I showed no compassion to.
Hmm.
But the re-engagement has to be authentic. We can't act like, okay, it's fine, when it really wasn't. No, I was really mad. I was mad of having to always help and support, and it was never enough. And I was exhausted. And that's what happens when you deal with people with mental health issues. And that's what's real. But how do we clear that emotional heart space to begin to have that kind of engagement with people?
Hmm.
So that's really what the book is about.
That
It's my
again just
ego,
grabbed me. I mean, it's
right? My ego on Front Street. Front Street is putting it out front, exposing it.
Mhm. That is very compelling. I
Mm.
encourage everyone. We've got Robin's website up here on the ticker, and
You can get the book off of the website. You
yes,
can get the
and
book off of the
please,
website, and the future trainings off of the website.
I
Because
know
as the
I will be
website
grabbing
says,
my copy because
yeah.
um, that's what you just shared is something that I've experienced as well. And
Mm.
I think that sometimes we just don't know what to do. And just by reading someone else's story, your story, it
Mm.
can help us all be more compassionate, more understanding. And when we're more compassionate, it that butterfly effect, it can just keep rippling out. You know, I
Yeah.
believe that to be true.
But what I want to share is, we cannot, we will not, we will never be consistently compassionate if we're allowing it to come through our ego.
Okay.
We must understand how the wounding that we've experienced in life has created an outer shell around us. And until we break through that, we will never be able to consistently bring the love, the kindness, the joy, the harmony to everybody that we engage.
Right.
Because the ego's job is to keep you separate, and
Mhm.
it keeps you separate by keeping you in conflict.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
that's what Ego on Front Street is about.
Fabulous. Let's show this website of yours here. And I'm excited to show everyone. Here we go. And a new day is dawning. And, you know, everything you've shared today can be so insightful and helpful for people. Let's all reach out and connect with Robin and learn a little bit more for ourselves so that we can be part of a beautiful
Mm.
wave going on. Because right now, as Robin, as you brought up, a lot of people do feel like it's a tough time or tougher than it's ever been. And that's okay because guess what? I actually wouldn't want to live 5,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 100 years ago. I'm pretty happy to live right today. And if
Well, Bonnie, I got a tip for you.
sure,
This is the best time to be alive on the planet
I know.
because all of the chaos is giving way to a new way of being.
That's right.
And we need to anchor that within ourselves so we can anchor that within society.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for coming on today. Thank you for sharing you with the world. We really appreciate you. And as your course comes out, I think we'll have another conversation going on because we want to make sure that everyone hears this message.
Mm,
And if they're so inclined, take action on it
right.
because nothing happens unless we make a change. It
That's
will stay just the same. So if you want to stay just the same as you are as today, if you want to be the same way 5 years from now, that's okay. But if you'd like to, see what another perspective,
yeah.
Robin has an amazing perspective. Thank you again for being on Storyvan TV.
Thank
And
you. It's been my pleasure.
yes, okay, everyone, we'll see you next
Yeah.
time.